Alright, so my name is Michael Wojdak, and my research is evaluating the use of mathematical models for generating synthetic Firn. So first, some background information on what Firn is. Firn is a material in between snow and ice that forms when layers of snow build up over many years and start to become denser, eventually turning into ice. And understanding this process of Firn densification is important for many applications in glaciology. One notable example being the dating of trapped air pockets. So as Firn is transitioning into ice, air can get trapped in pockets of open space, and it can stay trapped there for thousands of years, which gives researchers an opportunity to look at that air and determine what the atmosphere might have looked like in the past. But in order to do this, we need to understand Firn enough in order to determine at what point the pocket of air was actually closed off from the surface. So the aim of my project was to look into using mathematical models as a way to generate Firn-like structures. These synthetic Firn models could be a useful resource due to the limited availability of actual Firn data, and synthetic Firn would allow scientists to either extend existing Firn data or interpolate between different samples. So the Firn data used in this project include 3 micro-CT scans of Firn taken at increasing depths provided by Caitlin Keegan from the University of Nevada. The grayscale data was first thresholded or converted into binary black-white images, which is shown on the figure to the right, the raw data on the left column, and the thresholded versions on the right side. So once this data was thresholded, I could then take measurements of several different structural parameters, both for 2D image slices and as a 3D volume. And these parameters included things like density, surface area, thickness, Euler number, etc. And the goal of taking these measurements was to determine what are the characteristic features of Firn. And I also measured the relationship between each of the parameters and depth to see how the structure of Firn changes as you go deeper. The results were that some parameters like density and surface area showed strong correlations with depth, while others either remained constant or had little to no correlation with depth. And these results were used to inform the next stage of the project, which was designing and testing potential synthetic Firn models. So I was able to prototype 3 different potential synthetic Firn models. Each is kind of based off different pre-existing techniques or adapted from other methods. The first model is the Gaussian filtered noise model, which is based on just taking a completely random like TV static image and blurring it until there's different patches of light and dark, which can then be used to make an image. The second model is based off the inverse Fourier transform, and the idea of that model is you're kind of taking a random set of different wave patterns and combining them on top of each other in order to generate a kind of a random pattern. And the last model that I worked with was the icing model, which is kind of based on phase transition. So it's made up of a grid with positive and negative cells, and the cells tend to align with their neighbors. So over time, the different passes of light and dark form. So here we see some example output images from each of the models. The column on the left is the actual Firn data, and the columns on the center and right are the model's attempts at mimicking that structure. And I don't have any much specific to say about these images, but I think that they are kind of important for showcasing the main idea of this work, and what it was trying to achieve is trying to make a model that can replicate the real data that we see. So finally, for some conclusions from this work, I was able to find several different relationships between various parameters in depth, However, because of the limited amount of data that I was working with, it means that I don't really think you can put that much confidence on the specific numbers. So instead I had to use them more as kind of a guide for what the models should be looking like. And this problem could obviously be lessened in the future by looking at more different data sets. Another takeaway was that while the models shown here can generate images that do somewhat look like Firn, there's definitely not highly optimized models. There's still a lot of work to be done testing or looking at the completely different methods for generating synthetic Firn. So overall, I think the idea of synthetic Firn is still something with a lot of room for exploration, and hopefully something that could be proved to be an important tool for glaciologists in the future.